Welcome. My name is Evie Empress, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist specializing in maternal mental health and family functioning. This is the first Bonds After Baby podcast episode, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to help you and your family find relief, peace, and connection in the stages of early parenthood, from pregnancy and postpartum into parenting young children. So, in this first podcast episode, I'm going to share how I can help and why I do what I do. The transition to parenthood sets relationships up to struggle at a time when it's really important for parents to feel supported and connected, and as we know, when babies and children are being impacted by their home environment. So, while there's been much more attention paid in research and therapy practice and social support for moms and parents than there used to be, like in the past 10 or 15 years, there's still a massive gap in the type of support and education offered. Couples and relationships is the gap. So, most initiatives or treatments center just on the mom. And this is a problem. This is a hill I will die on. I often think this can pathologize the mom, like basically the struggle is rooted only in her. And yes, of course, there are very specific biological, hormonal, and adaptive circumstances specific to moms. But bringing a baby home is really a family matter, not an individual one. And relationship dynamics in a family can be either incredibly stressful or incredibly protective and soothing, often both. But women are mostly offered individual support or individual coping skills. So, as a therapist, I definitely value the work I've done individually with my mom clients and the work I continue to do. It's important and valuable work. And there's something different about helping a relationship heal and develop a deeper connection, to know that when either the couple goes home or a mom and her mom has some sessions and go home, that they're going home to a person that's part of their environment every day. And when they're home, it's going to be a kinder, warmer, more peaceful space outside for them and not just in my office. It's very common for couples and families to struggle in this early phase. So they start to develop ways of coping naturally, which can set the stage for the way their family copes long term, much past, baby stage and young childhood stage. So if a family can face challenges and adapt in a healthy way to early parenthood, those skills and that way of being with each other will carry through to older ages and stages, or it's much more likely that that will carry through. I'm passionate about preventing or catching unpleasant coping dynamics and ways of relating early, so I can help families set the stage for staying connected through challenges. I honestly have not even one mother in my years of social support and therapeutic work that wasn't sharing relationship stress. If only I felt more supported, if only I could share how I feel or to be understood. If only my partner and I could connect again. If only my mom would stop criticizing. I mean, it goes on and on. Um, and I believe one of the reasons why relationships aren't given a lot of attention in this phase of life is that most therapists and researchers are not trained in family systems. So we MFTs are a minority breed in the world of therapists, and other therapists who seek extra training in couple and family treatment are also a minority. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist with expertise in maternal mental health, parenting, couple relationships, and family relationships. I've been published and lectured on parenting mental health from a family systems perspective, and I'm grounded in a foundation of knowledge in interpersonal neurobiology, which is basically the science of how people connect, evidence-based approaches to relationship health, and effective therapeutic models, coupled with my lived experience as a mom. So, this, along with my therapeutic experience, makes me uniquely qualified to help other families in early parenthood. And to be clear, when I'm talking about families, I mean all types of families. Any kind of couple, adoptive parents, single parents with help from a grandmother or aunt. Basically, if you are in a relationship with someone, any kind of family relationship, and you're raising a child, this podcast will be helpful to you. And I'd like to get into what motivated me to share my expertise to a larger reach of families with this podcast now, basically beyond my therapeutic practice. And I'm going to share some personal things about my family and my experience as a mother. So, in the past years, when I'm out in the world in my free time, like a dinner party or a doctor's appointment, if someone asks me what I do, and if there's a parent and they find out I specialize in healing couple and family relationships after baby comes, I swear they almost always say, "Oh, I wish I had help like that." Like I see their eyes widen and they say things like, "It would have made things so much easier." And I see people express this to me often with very pained facial expressions. Some of them, if they feel comfortable, end up telling me what they went through as a couple with their in laws and how much stress they wish could have been avoided during this really special time in their lives. Now, I'll say that in the first year I was doing this therapy work, it just sounded validating to me. It was like, yeah, I wish that they had that help and I felt good about what I was doing in my practice. But over the years, as I continue to hear this, it just becomes more upsetting. It just shows me that too many families go without the support they need to connect more during this really critical and lovely period of life. And I started to dream and kind of think what I could do outside of my practice to share my integration of knowledge in an approachable, accessible way so moms and families can experience just more joy and peace than stress and discord as they're growing their families. Um, and while I enjoy speaking at conferences where professionals and I can learn from one another and take what we learn to our clients, I did and do feel a drive to just have a direct line to families that are currently in the thick of it. So, this has been a dream of mine for a while to help families on a larger scale than is possible in my practice. And I bet many of you can understand that as a busy mom, it remained just an idea for a while, waiting to find the right time. And actually, after the birth of my son a year ago, I knew it was time. So, I have two children with my husband, a 10-year-old daughter and a 15-month-old son. And my second pregnancy with my son, um, my birth experience and early postpartum months were significantly more traumatic than my first. Just to run through, I was hospitalized with preeclampsia, I had an emergency birth, and our baby had an extended NICU stay, while I had another child at home who needed me. But because my marriage, and other family relationships had developed the skills to navigate this phase of life better than the first time around, I actually had an emotionally easier and more peaceful experience of motherhood and family life than the first time. And the first time, everything had gone smoothly. We didn't have issues with my pregnancy, birth, or after. And yet, this time, we were more connected. Um, and that struck me. Um, and there's a memory I'd like to share just to kind of give a sense of what I mean. So I remember the day we had to go home from the hospital without our son because he had to stay in the NICU. And walking to the parking garage, I began to really spiral. I was just experiencing like a torrent of anguish and despair. And I started to have really cruel thoughts that I was just a horrible mother for leaving his side, and everything just felt very dark. So I had a choice to either lean into and ask for support or close off as I was walking next to my husband towards the garage. And in that moment, I leaned into my husband, who ended up sharing in the experience with me and really comforted me. He acknowledged how awful this was for both of us, validated that, and reassured me that I'd gone above and beyond to be there for our son. And I just remember this moment where when he shared that with me, the spiral in my brain just stopped. For the first time in hours, I could actually take a full, slow, deep breath. Um, what he shared with me didn't make our situation change. It was still awful to go home without our son, but it made what we were going through that day bearable, and we felt connected. We felt like we had each other through it. which made all the difference. And in general, during that month, of NICU time and beyond, I felt less alone and more heard. I knew I could be vulnerable and flawed and still be loved. Things were very hard, but I had the support I needed. And it's almost like this lived experience was telling me, enough already. Start the podcast, start your passion project. It's time. So through the most sleepless and busy phase of my life, I've been slowly and gradually preparing this launch and getting to finally start publishing podcasts. Because family life, I know, can be better for you and your loved ones too, and I'm here to help. So in this podcast, I'll be offering weekly support and coaching, and this is going to be a place where your struggles will be understood, where you'll get clarity on why it's so hard, and you'll receive actionable tips on how to get things to a better place. I encourage you to listen either by yourself, with your partner, mom, mother-in-law, aunt, fellow moms, friends, anyone who wants to learn with you. So I welcome you to join me here. It's time for you to enjoy more connection and less conflict. And if you want all the resources at your fingertips, I'll be offering freebie goodies in the near future. So you can sign up for my email list at bondsafterbaby.com to get the goods. And if you want to subscribe to my podcast and to my YouTube channel, Bonds After Baby, so you can get notified when there's a new episode. And I've released 2 other episodes along with this intro, so you can check them out. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.